Joining us now live in the studio is Court TV legal correspondent Kelly Craft. Kelly, you have been tracking down for us the jury foreperson who is speaking out, has been sending a lot of posts over the weekend after she has been cleared by Judge Everett to say what she wants about this trial.
Yeah, and she's really, Julia, defending her ability to speak out, saying she has the right to do so. So she has taken to the social media platform TikTok, and boy, does she have a lot to say. She's talking about what her thoughts were in regard to Donna and things in regard to Donna talking in code. She said that really stood out to her. She also talked about some text messages as well as some emails that Donna had sent, saying that really kind of was pointing to her thinking Donna was guilty. Also, she found Rob Adelsons, Donna's eldest son's testimony, very convincing. She felt that. And of course, she was talking about Wendy Adelson. So why don't we go ahead and listen to what she had to say about Wendy.
Long story short, but also probably long at the same time. Yes. Yes, I do. And do I think she is next? Do I think Harvey might be next? Absolutely, I do. Now, the state hasn't said that specifically, but there's evidence showing that they were aware of what happened.
Now, she was also saying that she does not know how Wendy Adelson sleeps at night, saying that when Wendy was on the stand, when she was testifying and responding to questions, saying, I don't know and I don't recall, she said that points to guilt, in her opinion.
Yeah, in her opinion, and some people have questioned whether she was actually the foreperson. Kelly, I was inside of that courtroom, saw her rise when she said, yes, we have reached a verdict. That is indeed the jury foreperson.
You would know, Julia.
Wow. Young. I always pick for people as the old person, the grizzled one, you know, but that was a very young foreperson.
There were several young people on this jury, so I was not surprised that she would be picked.
A lot of Wendy talk, Kelly, and a podcast featuring Wendy has sort of resurfaced a bit, and now people are sort of listening to her words in a different light because of all that has happened over the years.
Yeah, a lot of people that have taken to it, listened to it, and started to analyze it. It was even analyzed when it was done. So Wendy took this writing class back in 2016, and because of this writing class, that it was turned into some podcasts, 2 episodes in particular, in which Wendy is talking about the murder of Dan Markel. She's also talking about how she's doing, how her children are thriving. Why don't we go ahead and play a little clip of that?
10 months ago, someone killed the father of my children. First we got divorced, then he got murdered. In casual conversations, I don't know whether to call him my ex-late spouse or my late ex-spouse, except that late ex-spouse sounds like latex spouse. Last July, someone, and we still don't know who, shot my ex-husband point blank in the back of the head as he pulled into our garage after driving our then 3- and 4-year-old sons to preschool. We married when I was in my mid-20s, when I thought I could cheat the system and marry a man I lacked passionate love for because, hey, didn't that die anyway during marriage? I saw his intellect and big heart and thought he would make a wonderful father for my children. Our marriage dissolved after the children arrived, as the loneliness of being married to someone that didn't view me as an equal crept in.
And so, Ted and Julia, what we were finding when we took a look into this is even during that class afterwards, there was a discussion amongst the others that were in the class, and they would critique each other. And in particular, the critique of that one from one of the students was something along the lines of, she really doesn't sound very sympathetic or sad talking about this terrible situation. So even back then, somebody was talking about her tone, saying she wasn't acting like a woman who had lost her husband.
Wow, and that comes before anyone was arrested. So before anyone knew anything about whether her family was involved, the hitmen hadn't been arrested at all. So that is fascinating.
Yeah.
Kelly Craft, thank you for breaking that down for us. Let's bring in criminal defense attorney Ryan Brown, see what he has to think about this. Ryan, you have Wendy doing this podcast years ago, 2015, 2016 time period, before there were any arrests. Do you think there's any part of that that suggests that she didn't have a clue because she did come forward in that setting to talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, you know, these kind of like media and social things are always very damaging. And I think she's next. I'm sorry about the question as far as did she know if it was coming. I may have misunderstood the question, but I do think that she should be worried, and that I would not be surprised at all if she is next on the indictment list from a grand jury in Tallahassee.
Why do you think, let's assume that she is indicted, why have her last, or maybe second to last if Harvey's going, but if she is next, why would you, from a prosecutorial strategy mindset, go Donna, Charlie, Donna, and then Wendy? How important do you think the other convictions were for Georgia Kappelman and her team?
Very important, and I think that if you're the prosecutor here, and I'm sure this has been contemplated, they want to be able to give that derivative use immunity, be able to call Wendy to the stand and have her testify during these trials. If she's indicted along with them, then all of a sudden her ability to kind of invoke the Fifth and not testify at all becomes significantly stronger. And I think the prosecutors probably prioritized who they wanted, or indicted them, or are indicting them in that order. And that's how I would do it if I was a prosecutor, right? I'd figure out which witnesses I really need, and I'd hold off on them till the end.
And certainly Kelly said that foreperson believes that Wendy, based on the information that they saw during the trial, that she will be indicted. Let's listen to more from that jury foreperson who spoke out again on TikTok. Lacey with the J is what her handle is there on TikTok. It's under the name JC. And she's talking about the jury process here.
I also had a lot of people asking if my mind was made up before we deliberated. No, no. I stayed neutral through the end of the trial, just like we're supposed to. Everyone's presumed innocent until proven guilty. I kept my mind open, and I took notes on everything, from when both the prosecutor and the defense were arguing their points. I took notes on everything. A lot of people seemed really focused on my age, which is very strange to me. We had a super balanced jury, like a big age range. I was not the youngest one on the jury. And once again, if we're looking at the jury requirements in the state of Florida, you only have to be 18 at minimum. So, if you don't like that rule, whatever.
Ryan, I got to get your reaction to being able to hear from a juror that quickly, because this just happened on Thursday and she was already posting by like Friday or Saturday. But it's revealing, right, to be able to see and hear from a juror. And do you think we're going to see that more with jurors who are very connected to their social media? She had a lot of posts already online before this incident, but she acknowledged that no one on this jury knew about the case beforehand.
I'm not surprised to see this at all, and I also think it's a good thing. I think as Gen Zers, millennials get older, I think we're going to see more of this. I think that if you looked back in the past at wrongful conviction and stuff like that, it could be very difficult to trace down jurors who were reflecting or thinking, regretting their verdicts. And I think this is a great tool for prosecutors and defendants alike to be able to look into the mind of what's happening in the jury room. We don't get to watch. There's nothing wrong with her behavior. She's allowed to discuss the case after it's over. I think with the rise of true crime, novel podcast, whatever it may be, this is going to be something to see a lot more of in the future. And I think it's good for transparency and for prosecutors and defense attorneys alike.
Yeah, and we always say, man, I hope we hear from the jury during these trials, because you think you know what is hitting home with them, and then you find out later, in the rare cases you do, oh, wow, they were fixated on something totally different.
And hopefully it encourages jury service. That people will see it, younger people too, and they won't be so eager to try and get out of it.
Right, yeah, I loved her comment about people think that I was too young. Literally in the break, I'm talking to Julie, like, man, that girl's too young to be the foreperson.
She's a wife, she's a mom of two.
I think it's because someone's getting a little too old is the problem.